Now move on to public comments. Just want to point out we have a number of public comments, people who have signed up to offer public comments. Again, they are public comments. They're not questions, they're public comments.
My name is Minister Ella Scales, the Vice President of the Pennsylvania Interfaith Impact Network, and I'm going to read our President's comments. Reverend Richard Freeman, President of the Pennsylvania Interfaith Impact Network, and also he's the Senior Pastor of the Resurrection Baptist Church in Braddock, Pennsylvania. And he says, I stand proudly presenting a coalition of interfaith congregations compelled by our faith to action. 16 known souls demand we respond to the call of the Hebrew Scriptures, namely, to do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly before our God. It is that quest for justice and mercy we have the following 7 demands of those associated with this board. Number 1, incarcerated individuals receive immediate medical attention at their request at no cost, and that the determination to provide care not to be left to the correctional staff. Number 2, incarcerated individuals be given the ability to add, delete, or modify emergency contact information at their request during all stages of incarceration and custody, and that this request be processed within 1 day of the ask. Number 3, Allegheny County Jail to notify the emergency contact and the Jail Oversight Board with complete details around the incarcerated individual's medical emergency, hospitalization, or death within 2 hours of any emergency event happening. Number 4, family members or listed emergency contacts be allowed to immediate access to a hospitalized incarcerated individual. Number 5, transparency into medical records of deceased incarcerated individuals. Number 6, practical resources be made available for detainees and incarcerated individuals in the Allegheny County Jail. Number 7, a committee meeting with the Jail Oversight Board be held within 30 days of this demands that should be carried out. We thank you as we make justice and mercy a priority at the Allegheny County Jail. Thank you for your time.
Judge Halsey, point of personal privilege, I would like to make a motion to accept the recommendations that were just proposed.
We can address that for the next meeting.
You want to give me a second?
I do not. Thank you very much for your public comments. There's a process. It's not a while. There's a process, and we're going to follow the process.
So for the last Jail Oversight Board meeting, unfortunately, I was unable to make it due to the hasty rescheduling at the end of the month, 7 days before this meeting. I did submit a public comment, which was attached to the minutes. It was ignored. It was not summarized. That comment directly addressed the behavior at the prior Jail Oversight Board meeting, the lack of decorum, the disrespect, the haphazard way in which it was handled, but apparently that was not worth reading. I would like an answer as to why that happened, but it does draw a bigger concern that people who do submit public comments online are being ignored. They're being over-summarized. The impact of what they're saying is not being heard, and that's not right. There were only 9 public comments. They could be read in their entirety, especially given that A, this is an abbreviated meeting, and B, the last one was too. Moving on from that, I would like to say that it shouldn't take a survey to hear what people at this Jail Oversight Board have been telling you about the jail. Loved ones, family members, former incarcerated people have been telling you that these things are happening, and we only believe it when a social work school does a survey. Warden Harper, I would like to say there's nothing progressive and innovative about not having pads, tampons, therapists, clothing, fresh food, somewhere to sleep that's comfortable. That's not progressive and innovative, and I think you need a dictionary. What we're getting from the board is apathy instead of action. What we're getting from the warden is negativity, narcissism, and neglect. Should we care less that things happen because of COVID? Is COVID a catch-all? COVID was your opportunity to step up and meet the moment, not make excuses as to why things were the way they were. And to be clear, they haven't changed. So you're running out of excuses, and you've run out of actions. So at this point, I would like an explanation for why you blatantly refuse to do your job. And I would like an explanation for why, when the warden gets out of pocket and disrespectful, he is never chided in the same way Bethany is chided. And my final comment is I would really appreciate if you do not cut off members of the board while they are asking questions to things that the public watching this are not able to ask unless they come and do public comments a month later or submit one that's not going to get read. I want to know the answers to the questions she's asking. Please do not be disrespectful and cut her off. I mean, Lazara can't even show up because she's at the backyard brawl, but she comes every meeting and asks these questions. So I want to hear them. I want them answered, and there is no excuse that this should have been an abbreviated meeting just because it was haphazardly scheduled right after the last one. Thank you.
My name is Juana Saunders. I'm the mother of Gerald Lamont Thomas Jr., who passed away on March 6, 2022. If you guys don't mind, my anxiety is taking a little toll on me, so I would have my sister read what I wrote.
Hello, my name is Diane. I am the sister of Juana Saunders and aunt of Gerald Thomas. Her son passed away in this jail, and she will continue to show up until everyone incarcerated there is safe. She will not be going away, no matter how often you reschedule meetings. The past few meetings, we have heard about the horrible understaffing at the Allegheny County Jail. While we have heard about the effect that this has had on the officers, we would like to think what is more important to let us know what's happening with our incarcerated loved ones as well. Right now, there are pods that have been locked down for 23 hours a day due to understaffing. They have no family visits, no rec time, no legal visits, and this is in a place that is already miserable, joyless, unsafe, and unjust. We are taking away what few things they have to look forward to. This is inhumane. These are people, not animals. And in the past 4 months that we have been attending meetings, nothing has changed. Also, the ACJ's failure to staff is leading to cruel and unusual conditions for people in prison there. My sister has stood outside the jail. She has heard people talk about leaving and listen. She have talked to people leaving out of there, listening to how when they come out, their spirits are crushed by watching their loved ones being deteriorated. Now, what if it were you? Would you want to stay in a small cell for 23 hours a day? Do they not deserve visits from their loved ones? Is it not their right to a legal visit? We can talk about investigating the jail all you want, but are you going to do something about it? For the judges sitting on this board, sentencing people to this jail, knowing what is going on in there, how are you going to fix it? Is this just a hobby, or are you actually going to use your position to make some changes? Because we know Fitzgerald is not going to. If you refuse to act, then expect to see more of us, because we aren't going anywhere. And I just want to also add, as far as the communication between loved ones, parents, and the management, I can understand that you're running the jail, so you may be hardened. It's just numbers and things to you, but these are our loved ones that are in there. So even for those who have contact information, I'm on people's contact information, my nephews. I done went through this 4 times this month. 4 times with my nephews, and I'm their emergency contact. And I do not like the way that I'm talked to, the way that I am shoved off, or the way that I'm not even being able to communicate with medical management, the warden, just in general. To me, it's very, I couldn't even understand. Now, there's no trust in this jail system because of the way I've been talked to within the last 4 months with my nephews. And I just don't understand it, because I am their emergency contact, and I have not been contacted at all. I'm always the one reaching out first.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am. Thank you, thank you,
And her name is Wanda Saunders.
thank you.
I almost don't even want to talk because it seems like it's a waste of time in this place. I don't know if we're able to ask questions, but I would like to know when people make comments, how do they get the answers to the things that they're commenting about? Like, where does those responses happen at? Is there a way to find that out?
There's a mechanism to respond, but it
Huh?
is public comments, not questions, so.
Oh, okay. But I just wanted to know, because when we leave here, I would like to know, like, I heard a lot of things here that I didn't come to talk about that I now want to know the answers to, and I'm trying to figure out how do you get those. I don't think there's too much I can say about what's happening at the jail that you haven't already heard, so I won't echo that. But I would like to know why there is no accountability for any of it. I mean, it's been going on for a very long time. The Jail Oversight Board is here for a reason, and I just don't understand how, after even hearing things that I didn't know in that report that Department of Human Services and the PIT put out, like, the reaction and the response was just null, just there. Like, it seems like you would be alarmed, heightened, or demand some accountability from the person who was employed there. I just don't understand what the Jail Oversight Board is doing or what we could expect from you all. You know, I mean, people don't want to come in here and be upset, antagonizing, but when you get this type of response, which is either nothing, apathetic, I mean, what do you expect people to do? And when they come and talk about like real things in a way, you know, forget how people are speaking. I don't care about his attitude, even though it disgusts me. It's what is being done. Like, beyond everybody's personality, beyond Bethany's personality that y'all don't like, beyond Wharton Harper's personality that nobody likes, what is happening with the people in the jail, and what are we doing about the things that are being raised? Like, these are very real things. I heard violations of policy being said. Like, there has to be a response to policies being violated, right? And you're clearly irritated, but so am I. Right? And so I don't understand, like, what are we doing about the things that are happening? You are human beings. If I came up here and said that your son told me that he's hungry, would you care? If I told you that your daughter said that she's not getting adequate medical care or getting her insulin, would it bother you? Would you care then? I just don't understand, like, why the attitude or why the lack of movement or the lack of action when people are just here being sincere about people that they care about that's locked in a facility. The last thing I want to say is that we went through a lot to get an ordinance passed so there was no solitary confinement in the jail. And all that I've seen since is ways to keep people locked up for 23 hours a day. And Halsey, you're very intelligent. If you cannot see that that is intentionally being done, I'm starting to believe that you just don't care. Like, I don't understand what is happening here, that there's no accountability, zero change, zero effort, and I'm sure things happen behind the doors. People have conversations that we might not be privy to, but they're not translating to change. And that is the issue, and that is my comment.
I'm just going to start. Richard Lenhart, Robert Blake, Cody Still, Daniel Pastoric, John Brady, Martin Buchek, Robert Harper, Vinkley Harris, Justin Brady, Paul Allen, Roger Millspaugh, Paul Sipisak, Gerald Thomas, Jerry Lee Ross Jr., Victor Joseph Zelenik, Ronald Andrus. Those names should be read at the beginning of every one of your meetings until this changes. I've never been to this meeting before. I'm a suburban white woman, retired teacher. I'm an expert in 7th graders. I'm a taxpayer. I'm ashamed I've never been to this meeting before, and I am so grateful to those of you who show up time after time, and those of you on the board who are willing to speak out, because this is unconscionable. I leaned forward to ask someone how long this warden has had this job. And And I was told, Google it, so I did. 10 years? 10 years. How long is it going to take for this board to hold someone accountable for roaches crawling on a tray and rat feces in food? For women menstruating who don't have the sanitary products they need? And y'all know that that's just really and truly the icing on the cake. Because here's the cake: dead people. Dead people on his watch. So I'm here to hold myself accountable that, by God, I won't miss another meeting. And I am hopeful that Rich Fitzgerald can take some time to do his job and be here as well. And that there will be some respect. I'm done today, but I'm not done. And this is unconscionable.
The request I have on the part of the Black Political Empowerment Project, BPEP, is that what was presented by these two ladies today be reviewed in detail by a team of folks from the staff and from the board, and that you create a timeline by which that will be done. My request is that you set the timeline within the next 2 weeks to begin the assessment of the work. What I heard today was beyond troubling. And to be honest, I was watching your faces. I didn't see the feel. I didn't see the passion. I didn't feel or see the upset. Now, maybe you felt it. What I thought of, if any one of you were sitting in this jail and you were dealing, let's say you were about to go to jail and you heard this report, I don't think you'd want to get there too soon. And I want you to think about it. If it was a relative of yours, if not you, someone close to you, would you want to be in that situation? I don't know about you. I can't stand a roach, even from a distance, let alone on my plate. This has to be handled. This is inhumane treatment. And Brandy, what was the percentage of people in the jail who haven't even been convicted as yet? Is it 85 or whatever? There's a huge percentage of people in the jail who have not yet been found, you're shaking your head, Judge, have not yet been found guilty of anything. And they're being penalized by these conditions. If I were a woman and couldn't find a sanitary napkin, I'd be pissed as hell. This is not right. And it's not funny. Well, you look like you are. But seriously, you've been there, Warden, 10 years. You ought to be ashamed that these conditions continue to exist. It is unacceptable. And no one on this panel should even think about allowing this to be acceptable. It should be an expeditious movement to fix it. If you have to get an extra contract, get it. If I'm in jail, I shouldn't have to pay money to get toilet paper or to get whatever minor things I need to live. And what Brandy did, APA and others, to get people out of that hole, that should not be played with. I worked at a mental hospital for 31 3/4 years. You don't need to be in those situations. You need mental treatment, not abuse. From a BPEP perspective, we had a 3-hour meeting Saturday with the League of Women Voters. We have a video. Matter of fact, Rich, who was here earlier, Rich Garland, has done the video. Oversight, the voiceovers. And Tanae Kroom, one of the greatest voices in radio, has done an oversight. We have one for people who are in jail. It is extremely detailed, and it is extremely correct. I'm asking that every prisoner, every inmate, every resident, whatever word you want to use, have the opportunity to witness that video. and that everyone who wants to vote, who can, be given a registration form, and they register before October 24th.
Is your time. I've given you well in excess of your time.
I appreciate it, but I hope you all take the time that you need to do what you need to do.
So just to be clear, I would not laugh at the conditions in the jail. I was not laughing at. There was a comment that was made that is categorically untrue, and I was a smile of astonishment that it's still being said when it's not true. I'm sorry? I would never laugh at the conditions in the jail, so believe what you
You
want.
and Harper. Harper's over here smirking in my face the whole meeting. The whole meeting right now.
Put your hand over your face, rolling your eyes.
What comment was incorrect?
95% of the people in the jail are not there that have not been convicted of a crime. It's not 85% either. That is not true. We've discussed that on multiple occasions, but it's still being said. It's not 95%. It's not even 50. It's not even 50%.
Judge Halsey, only 5% of the people in the jail are actively serving sentences. The rest of the people are in there on detainers, awaiting gag-non hearings, awaiting trial. Only 5% are serving sentences for a crime in which they were convicted. That is a fact. Even Judge Lazaro, when she brought her stats in, did not dispute. You are lumping in people who are in there on detainers in with people who are serving sentences, and they are categorically different. And you know that's true.
You know what? You would know better than I just got here. So let's move on.
What number do you think it is?
Let's move on to the new business.